This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports. You're listening to TGI Sports Talk with your host Keith Angle on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Happy NFL Sunday. Hope you're all doing well. This is Keith Angle for TGI Sports Talk Sunday. Stream of consciousness right here on Northeast Streaming Sports and TGI Sports Talk. You'll find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter live today. It's funny, I got to get the music. I started playing some new music, and it's on my StreamYard instead of my soundboard. So I got to remember where to turn it off. So anyway, guys, I'm trying to get my head on the screen here. Close enough. I guess I don't need my whole head in the screen, do I? So anyway, thank you for watching us live. Wherever you're watching us today, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Catch us 12 o'clock this show on Roku, and it'll be repeated Monday and Tuesday at least. And then certainly catch our other shows, the College Football Huddle, the Are You Serious show on Fridays with the Mad New Yorker. And certainly this show, my vlogs. Had a good vlog. Had a fun vlog last week about Roberto Clemente. So I wasn't angry for a change. I gave Major League Baseball some kudos, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that during the baseball segment as well. We'll talk baseball, Major League Baseball races. We'll talk tremendous. The Yankees lose, and the East is getting close again. Every time I think the Yankees are out of the woods, it gets ugly. So we'll talk those races. I want to talk a little more about Judge's fabulous season. Albert Pujos closing in on 700. Plenty of time to get there. You know, everybody's concentrated on Judge and the fact that he's chasing the Triple Crown here now. We'll take a look at the stats. I know it's only batting average. It's holding him back. He had moved to within 10 points of that. So we'll talk about all of that. But Paul Goldschmidt's having a great year, too. We'll talk a little college football. We'll look at some of the top 25 games yesterday and not go into too great a detail, but we'll talk a little college football. The Hurricanes with another atrocious effort against a top 10 team. Well, what was a top 10 team? Maybe A&M and Oregon are better than we thought after yesterday's results. Who knows? And we'll also talk NFL week one. What are the overreactions from week one? And we'll certainly look at the matchups from week two. And then we'll have Mr. Mark Mancini on around the 10 o'clock, top of the hour at 10 o'clock. I'm not sure what his hot takes are today. He didn't really send me any. I'm sure he'll want to talk about how great the Padres are now that they've won 2 in a row again. Good grief. I'm sorry, Mark. But come on, Padres are going nowhere. If they make the playoffs, they only got a game and a half lead over the Brewers. They're not going to get in there. Good morning, Kenny. And when we get to the NFL, too, which we'll do probably about the 9:30-ish, 9:15, 9:30, we'll review the standings, which I still don't know who some of the top people are. We haven't. Kenny, I can easily pick out your your persona in the Pick'em League. So anyway. Oh, guys, what a weekend. Had a long night last night. Sat out. It was a beautiful, beautiful, I say fall. Listen, I know fall is until next Wednesday, I think. If that's right. Yeah, next Wednesday, I believe. But to me, after Labor Day, it's fall. What a beautiful day we had yesterday. We had some friends over. We watched college football outside and grilled and ate and laughed and sat by a fire and drank way too much. But here I am, bright and cheery, hoping you guys are ready to help me carry this show today, which you always do step up, guys. So, oh gosh, let's jump into some Major League Baseball first here today. Let's get around the league a little bit. I don't know where to start even. Let's see. I don't know if Drew's with us or not. Hopefully he is, because we're going to start out of the gate with Major League Baseball. Yeah, it is a perfect name. Is it? Wait a minute. You got it. Wake and Bake would be good for you. I think your name is good now. You got to be the guy I think I know. I think it is, Kenny. You can share it here if you'd like, so I know for sure, but I'm pretty sure I know it's you. Oh, good morning to Alan. How are you today, Alan? We'll get into the college football scene here a little bit. Let's talk some Major League Baseball, get around these standings, get around some of the conversations I want to have regarding Major League Baseball. I got to tell you, Phil Nevin, Ohtani pitches a gem yesterday, by the way. Gets a 2-1 win. Drove in a run, scored another one. And Nevin says, what did Phil Nevin say here? Hold on, let me find his quote. Said it before, he's the most valuable player of our game right now. No, he's not. You can say he's the best player, and if Neil Bush is here, he's got to speak up and say he's overrated, which I don't think he's overrated. I think he's a tremendous ball player, but he's not the MVP of the league. If you're 20 games out of first place and you take the best player on that team off the team, how does that affect them negatively? Negatively. Is that a word? Negatively. If I take Aaron Judge off the Yankees, do they have a 4.5 game lead in the American League East? Highly unlikely. Oh, gosh. Just annoying. 6-11. Well, we'll talk. Nobody had a great week last week. We'll get into that in a little bit. Dodgers first team to clinch a division. Astros clinch a playoff spot. We certainly knew the Dodgers were going to clinch soon and Mancini will come on and find a way to bash him. I love having him on. Good morning, Carlos. Good to have you. Good morning, Drew, by the way. I don't think I said good morning. McCann needs to wake up or sit out. Who are you going to play? Listen, the Mets had a chance to address their catcher situation at the deadline. Didn't do it. Maybe that will come back to haunt them. But look they still got a game lead. I will say this again. I've said this 100 times. And Carlos, you're about the only Met fan who doesn't seem to get it when I say it. If I told you in March that this team would have a 1-game lead on September 18th without DeGrom for half the season, without Scherzer for a couple long stretches, you would have signed up for that in a second. Cleveland's playing very well. Yeah, we'll go around the divisions too, Drew. I know you like to do that. So do I. So, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I knew that was you, Kenny. Dodgers they're going to get 110 wins. Now, again, in fairness, it's not going to matter if they don't win the World Series, right? I mean, that's a great season. Yankees, well, it's dwindling. They still got 18 games left. They still got a chance to get to 100. Aaron Boone, that'll be his third 100-win season. What has he got to show for it? One trip to the ALCS? Who's Magic? Oh. Judge going to the Red Sox. Yeah, maybe. Listen, I'm already dealing with a Joey Gallo curse, according to many of my Yankee detractors. I don't know that you said 100. You keep changing this number, Carlos. I think we talked about 90, low 90s. Maybe you said it. I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I go back and find the video or the audio in the video. Anyway, what's the other stories going around here in Major League Baseball? Gonzalez gets hurt in the Yankee game. Albies back. Listen, Albies comes back for the Braves, which is a big plus. I don't think he's back one day, maybe 2 games. And he breaks a finger. Not good for the Braves. I like the Braves' chances here to repeat. I really do. But this is going to set them back a ways. Listen, the Yankees, I've said this for a while. Again, they can't score if they don't hit home runs. And Alan's absolutely right. again, this isn't new ground we're covering here. The Yankees can't beat elite pitching, which you're going to see a lot more of. And you need to be able to scratch out runs in the playoffs. Yankees are not built to do it. They win when Judge hits home runs, basically. He's definitely winning the comeback player of the year, Drew, for sure. Cy Young, I would say he's probably the favorite. You might be able to throw in maybe the White Sox, Dylan Cease. I think my mind's a little scrambled this morning. I think Dylan Cease, right? But Verlander's just a freak of nature. Great pitcher. How are they on the verge of being swept by the Brewers? Well, the Brewers are hungry. The Brewers still got something to play for, and the Yankees seem to keep playing like they've got this all wrapped up. They play like they got a 20-game lead. I mean, 6.5 with 20 to go should be, unless you're the Mets. Sorry. Should be plenty. But the Yankees are playing like they got a 20-game lead. It's hard to watch. I watched very little of the game yesterday. I was focused on college football, which went very badly for me yesterday, personally. Brewers are still – it's amazing that they are. They're a game and a half back, thanks to the Padres, I think. The Padres, look, they get 2 in a row. Good time for the Padres to win 2 in a row, or the Brewers would be in the playoffs as we speak right now. Padres aren't going anywhere. If probably either one of these teams goes in, they're going to go out in the first round. And it pains me to say that, as Drew knows, I picked them to win the World Series. Little did I know they'd be even worse hitting the ball than they were the year before and put too much pressure on their pitchers. You know what, though, Kenny? They don't. Or they try to, yes. Come to the playoffs, it's very hard to just turn the switch on. Too many liabilities on this team. Aaron Hicks still in the lineup way too much. Aaron Boone's love affair with Aaron Hicks is amazing to me. Not for me, Boone. No, I know you too, yes. I don't know exactly where he's at, Carlos. Right now, I think he's day-to-day. I haven't seen, let's see. Let's check the post here real quick. Got to get the right mouse. Bear with me 1 second. Let's see if there's any news in the post. No. He's not. I don't think he's going on the IL. I don't think. But then Gonzalez gets hurt yesterday. Gonzalez has really not been that good. I thought it was interesting. Friday night, Cabrera played first base. He never played the inning of first base anywhere. They just started working him out at first base a week ago, tops. So that kid's played everywhere. Well, yeah, I'm still not going to tell you they're very good. We'll talk more about that in the college football segment, but I still can't get excited about Kansas. We got to get into the conference schedule, then we'll see how good they are. Got rid of Gallo. It's still not a bad move. He's got to go. And so should Hicks have gone, by the way. I think I said that at the time. So, I don't know. What other news we got here? Let me go backwards. Oops, that's the wrong one. Oh, Albie's going out. I still like the Braves. We'll talk more about it. Albert Pujols goes 0 for 2 yesterday in his quest for 700. So he's stuck, I believe, at 698. He did pass A-Rod, thank God. I'm pulling for Albert Pujols. This guy's been one of the, who knows? Maybe he decides he wants to play again, which I hope he does, and I hope he goes out on this high note. because he's one of the best hitters in baseball since July 10th. 15 homers and 35 RBIs in 48 games, and he also hit 317. Here's your Albert Pujols update. Aaron Judge stuck at 58. Oh, Phil Nevin said, by the way, I go back to Phil Nevin for a second. He says, Judge is like his son, but Ohtani's the MVP. Well, then Phil Nevin doesn't know what the definition of MVP is. Make up another award. Who retired? Who retired 10 years ago? Yankees fielding problems have killed. Listen, again, I guess what I will call now the mirage of the first half of the season was, and what was behind the Yankees playing so well and looking like an all-world team, was the fact that they didn't have injuries, the fact that they played much better defense, they ran the bases better, and they didn't always rely on home runs. They had some guys that would get do some good situational hitting, which I talk about till I'm out of breath. And in the last 2 months, the fielding has got atrocious. IKF's played better. Listen, he hasn't had a bad year. But right now, he's not playing well. Whole defense is awful. Rizzo needs to be there out in the field every day. He does help that infield play for sure. But, you know, we're winning and losing with IKF this year. You're not going to see Peraza there. He's up here to get some seasoning, and that's it. Hunter Green comes back exceptionally well against the Cards. Good call. Why is the A-drug guy even put up there? Well, his numbers are there. That's why. I mean, you can't take them away. As long as Major League Baseball is going to recognize those numbers. And me, look at, I waver. I do think, I waver because of the Hall of Fame thing. And I do think even the druggies belong in the Hall of Fame, just like Pete Rose belongs in the Hall of Fame. Put them in there, tell their whole stories, warts and all. But at the same time, some of these hallowed records that are tainted, I might do something about. To me, the home run records are still 61 and 756, 754. Drew can help me out there probably. 61 is still the number to beat. Oh, you're thinking of Lee Trevino, I think, Kenny. He's talking about the catcher for the Yankees. Ryan, another guy who, I think there's been a couple immaculate innings this year, Drew, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure that's been a big deal. Or not a big deal. It is a big deal. You don't see a lot of those, and I think there was a couple this year. I think at least one other one, I feel. Kenny might be started early today. I'm not sure. The Reds. Montas, by the way, for the Yankees is getting an MRI. He pitched again horribly the other night. Yankees stake him to a 5-0 lead, and he can't hold it. And by the way, Drew mentioned that the Astros clinched a playoff berth last night, which they're going to win their division. There's no question about that. And they're going to have the best record in the American League. But Alvarez has 3 home runs last night. So, again, I think it's hilarious that the players are complaining about the baseball constantly. But you've got guys like Judge, Goldschmidt, Alvarez has a 3 home run night. To me, the baseball, and if I don't even care if they did deaden the baseball a bit. It was for 2 decades or 3 decades. Forget how old I am. 3 decades. They've been juicing the baseball anyway. Yeah. Give all the advantages to the to the offense. Well, a couple quick scores from last night. We talked about the Yankees losing to the Brewers again. Woodruff gets his 11th win. James Taillon loses. He's got 13 wins. Hasn't pitched horribly, but he's not a guy that I'm excited about in a big spot. And by the way, speaking of the Yankees, I got into a pretty good row Friday on the Mac and Jack show because the conversation was about the best pitchers in baseball and DeGrom and him being a free agent and what people would give him in free agency. And I mean, they're talking, who's going to give him a 6 or 7 year contract with his injury history? Now, there's one dumb owner that'll do it, but I'm saying you shouldn't. It doesn't matter to me if he stays healthy and he's pitched 15 games. The guy's had nothing but arm injuries for the last 3 seasons. Anyway, that was what the conversation started about. Then it got around to Garrett Cole, and one of our esteemed panelists told me he stinks. I wouldn't have him on my team. Now, look, you can tell me he's not as good as DeGrom. You can tell me he's not as good as Scherzer. You can tell me whatever you want. But don't tell me Garrett Cole stinks, because he doesn't stink. He's not terrible. Top four in a Cy Young Award 4 years running. Top 4 or 5. Which I think makes you one. Again, that's in the American League or the National League, wherever he was at the moment. So you're the top 4 in your league, which puts you in the top 5 or 10 in baseball. So he doesn't stink. Does he live up to the reputation maybe of some of these other guys? No. But don't tell me he's terrible. What do we got here? John Gonzalez, good morning, buddy. How are you? From the Sports Authorities. Check out the Sports Authorities and John Gonzalez. If you guys haven't been to John's group, you're missing out. I mean, the posts that John and some of the other people put up there are amazing. Besides the fact that he lets me share my show and previews and stuff. Thank you for that. Plus the fact they have all kinds of great baseball posts, both now and nostalgic posts as well, which I love. So great job. C.H. Chatham, good to have you with us today. C.A. I think is a new viewer today, at least speaking up. So thanks for joining us. Which hall has more shame, baseball or football? It's a great point. C.A. They both have them all. It's not the hall of perfect people though. It's about what they did on the field. Baseball is full of. You can keep Bonds out. You can keep out Clemens and keep out these guys and Rose and guys you think are bad people, but they're full of bad people. Ty Cobb, I keep saying forever, is one of the worst human beings ever to walk the face of the earth. And to CA's point, O.J. Simpson still sits in the Football Hall of Fame. Ray Lewis, last I looked, was elected on his first try. I mean, double homicides must carry a lot of weight in the NFL. So thanks for being with us today, CA. I hope you stick it out, and we'll talk some more football here in a second. Doesn't matter. The pitchers like Verlander were using Spider Tack. Is he still using it? You and your Spider Tack nonsense, Carlos. I'm so tired of that word. What, they aren't using it now. They aren't using it now because they're checked every half inning for it. And what's the league batting averages? The worst in about 30 years. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Whatever. But as I've said 100 times on this show and other vlogs and whatnot, every change in Major League Baseball has been in favor of offense since 1968. Lower the mound, DHs, smaller ballparks, better equipment. So, geez, the pitchers go out and try to get a little bit of an edge by, getting a grip on the baseball, which, by the way, also keeps these guys who throw the ball 100 miles an hour from killing people. Spider Tack is awful. Come on. What a joke. I'll keep saying that too. Doesn't matter. I'm still there. Hold on. I thought I changed that. John, I will have a great show. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for your great support of my show and some of the other people that you support over there, John. Great job. I can't, you're right. I won't leave the Hall of Fame out of the Hall NBA out of the Hall of Shame. My head is smaller than you believe. I got a really small head. It's just on a big body. No, actually, it would look bigger on a smaller body, wouldn't it? Oh, well. Carlos, next will be bat guano. Yeah. Guano. Bat, I think bat crap, right? If I'm not mistaken. Oh, God, I'm not going through these scores. Let's get to the standings real quick because I want to get off baseball. And by the way, we're talking about Judge being the AL MVP. I think Paul Goldschmidt's probably the NL MVP. Both of these guys are chasing down triple crowns. Carlos pointed out to me Friday. I'll give him credit here. I had not realized. What the hell? How did I get into the NBA stats, for crying out loud? So right now, Goldschmidt is 9 points behind Freeman. I'll get to Judge in a second for the batting average. He is only, damn it, because now I can't see. I got to go to the National League. He is only 4 behind Schwarber for home runs, and he is only 2 behind Pete Alonso for the RBI title. So he is in a running for a triple crown and carrying that team offensively, the Cardinals, who are, again, a dark horse once we get to the playoffs. But Aaron Judge, by the way, he's running away, obviously, with the home run and the RBI titles. And he RBIs, and that's Boone batting him leadoff, which I still don't get. So I know, but, Whitey Herzog did this back in the 70s with George Brett and Hal McRae at the top of his lineup. And now Boone, has got Judge and Stanton at the top of the lineup. I don't agree with it. But, he's got 123 RBIs batting out of the 2-hole most of the year. And now the 1-hole most of the time. So great job there. Now he started, and when Carlos pointed this out to me on Friday, and I'll get there in a second to your comments. He was 10 points behind Arias from Minnesota. I'm sure I said that wrong. He's 4 behind him now. Aaron Judge in great shape for a Triple Crown run here for sure. He better. I know. Goldschmidt's John Gonzalez. Goldschmidt's a very underrated. He's an outstanding player and should be MVP. Agree. I don't even know who else I would call a contender in the National League right now or American League. There's no way Judge isn't the runaway MVP. He won't be because of Ohtani, but there's no way he isn't the MVP. And Goldschmidt's been under the radar for a long time because he played in Arizona, and now he plays in St. Louis, which is a big market, relatively speaking. It's not Chicago, New York, or LA, but it's still a big market. And he still is under the radar. He doesn't need to win the Triple Crown. He shouldn't need to win any of the. Well, he's going to win the home run title anyway. And I think I said he was stuck on 58. He's stuck on 57 home runs. But there's no way. Because, again, I will tell you once more. Because I'm going to think you're saying Ohtani. If you take those guys off their teams, and that's to me how you weigh who's the most valuable. You got a team 20 games out of first place almost, and a team that's 4.5 games up. And the Yankees without Judge are not in first place. They're much closer to where I predicted them at 85 wins. He's a Brady Anderson of the Yankees. So we talking about Judge? This isn't a fluke. Brady Anderson was a fluke. Brady Anderson took advantage of the live baseball too. If you remember that year, everybody was hitting home runs. So, man, and maybe I'm not maybe you're not referring to Judge here, Drew. Maybe you are. But this guy's already got a 50 home run season under his belt. He's not Brady Anderson, man. Brady Anderson was a one hit wonder. CA says, so true. So many factors. Whichever sport the track record is now important a player. It is how important he is. I don't know if to the sport, because you're talking about individual seasons, right? So if you want to talk about who's valuable to the sport, well, obviously Ohtani's very valuable to the sport, but this isn't like a lifetime achievement award. This is for this particular season and how valuable you are. And I guess it doesn't say to their team. So to your point, CA, but they're both important to baseball. And by the way, Aaron Judge will be more important to baseball playing in New York. Brian Cashman, get your head out of your you-know-what. You already cost the team about, I don't know, probably $60 million by not signing him in the spring. Carlos team, we talked about this a lot Friday too, and Sal and yourself. The Cardinals are underrated. I think it's going to come down to whether their pitching is good enough to stand up in the playoffs. And the pitching, while it's pitched well, but if Jordan Montgomery and Quintana are going to be your top dogs, and I'm not taking anything away from Adam Wainwright, but I'll just say Jordan Montgomery. If Monty's going to be one of your top two pitchers in the playoffs, I'm not confident he's going to continue what he's done here in the regular season. We'll see. Good point, Carlos. He's also Drew. Ultimate insult. Sorry. Yes, his fielding is. And by the way, that is something to take into consideration in these conversations. If you're a butcher, and I can say, Judge is a top-notch right fielder, not as good a center fielder, but he is a top-notch right fielder as well. And Ohtani doesn't play a position. He does pitch. I get it. And he does something that never been done, 30 home runs and 10 wins. Even the great Babe Ruth didn't do that. Oh, Judge in the leadoff spot. I got you. Well, Brady Anderson really was kind of a leadoff guy, except for that one fluke of a season when I think I probably could have hit 50 home runs. I was much younger then. It was in the night. What was that night? I can't even hazard a guess now. Maybe as far back as the 80s. I don't think it was the 80s. I want to say mid-90s. Carlos, it's tough for those not in New York to understand Judge as MVP because their roster is full of all-stars. Where it is? Where? And I would say that Ohtani plays with one of the probably the third best player in baseball. Ugh. Now here's a good CA gets it. He gives me a little context so I know where his comment's coming from. Hall of Fame's response: I'm behind in learning flow of the show. That's okay. Oh, I see. It happens a lot because we move on. Right. Okay. So this comment was about the Hall of Fame. Yeah. See, it does happen to me a lot because of the delay, CA, just so you know, and the flow. This show isn't called the Sunday Stream of Consciousness for nothing, man. We get all over the board, which we have a lot of fun doing. I'm glad you're here participating because that's what drives this show. This is your guys' show. Oh, Judge in a walk here. Ohtani is the most impressive player this year. No, how is he? How is he the most impressive player this year? Again, I'm not saying he's not a great player. And you can tell me he's the best player in the sport, and I would say, all right, you've got an argument. He certainly does things that nobody else can do. But is he the most valuable to this team, his team? Big deal. His contributions have got them 20 games out of first place. Keep saying that. I should look and see what it is. Where do they stand today? scroll down here. We're never going to get through all these standings today. Maybe we'll spend a short time on college football today. We're going longer with the MLB here. The Angels. Oh, Jesus, sorry. 31 games out of first place. 31 and a half games out of first place. And you're going to tell me there's an MVP of the league, most important to his team on here. So I don't care if it's WAR, if you want to get into the new age numbers, which I hate. Even if his WAR was 10, how does that make this team any better if you take worse than if you take him off it? It would be very hard to finish more than 31. Well, the A's will be 42 out, but does it matter if you're 31 or 42 games out of first place? No. But if you take Judge off the Yankees, what do you got? They're not a team full of all-stars, Carlos. I'm going to miss a comment from John before. 1996. Thank you, John. Did I miss this? Oh, he talked about him being underrated. Yes, I agree. Who else we got here? Got to get back to where it was. Rick Sherlock, good morning. Jim Jeffco bracks up my print. Yeah, we did talk about that. We'll certainly talk about a little of that in the NFL segment for sure. We talked about this. Well, in my segment on that show this morning before I jumped here, we talked about the injuries, and training camp means something, guys. We'll talk more about it. Make sure we circle back to that, Rick. Am I talking about when Thurman was playing? Well, maybe that's got to be Carlos. Rizzo, Stanton. Rizzo is us all. Well, Rizzo's a very good player. Stanton. These two guys are hitting about 210. This guy stinks. Donaldson. I'm doing this like you can see my cursor. IKF. He's not an all-star. And Cole. All right, there's two. I'll give you Stanton. Rizzo's not an all-star anymore. He hits some really good balls. He's important at that first base position, and he's kind of the glue of that infield. But you're telling me that if I took Judge off this team, these five guys are going to carry them to the division crown in this loaded division? Wrong. Who considers them all-stars? Were they an all-star this year? Was Donaldson an all-star this year and I missed it? Stanton might have made it. I don't remember. Shouldn't have. IKF's not an all-star. Never has been considered an all-star. He's a nice player. You left Trevino out, who was an all-star. You left Nestor out, who was an all-star. But these guys aren't all-stars year after year after year. And again, so what? Who's the most valuable player to their team? This team's not 4.5 games out with all those guys and taking Judge out of the equation. 4 games up. Sorry. They're not. He made history. But so what? That doesn't make you the most valuable player. You know, again, maybe it's context, because there have been guys on bad teams that have won the MVP. But to me, that's only when there isn't a standout on a team that won. Andre Dawson won with a Cubs team that probably finished with close to 100 losses. All over the board today. We do, yeah. We got everybody in the crowd today. New York to Texas to Washington. Billy's in California. We can get a California people in if he pops in at some point. If his daughter pops in, we got him from London. Okay, what player pitches and plays? Nobody. Again, I'm not saying he's not a great player. But the conversation about MVP, I think, is one of the most worst interpreted things in baseball. Maybe sports. Rangers are better than the Angels. That's pretty bad. Because they don't get a pitch. Then the Angels won't put a pitching staff together. Right? Thank you. I'm ending this conversation now. Mic drop for John Gonzalez. Right. Look at this last part. Having one of the best years ever for major league leaders, hand down. Look at the number of offensive categories that Aaron Judge is leading. I don't even know if I can list them all. Do I still have the stats up here? Let me take a quick look here. I'm going to stay on this now. You guys are just, I don't know if I can, I don't have that many here. I saw a list of this stuff. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see if I can pull it up in this. Now, this might work. I want to just look at the American League. Batting average. He's only 4 behind, guys. Okay? Runs. Aaron Judge. How do I get an All-American? I want the American League. All right. I keep losing it every time. That's all right. We'll go Major League Baseball. Aaron Judge won in runs. Batting average. He's close to number 1 in the American League. Home runs. He's on a pace to set the American League record. RBIs, leading the league. Total bases, leading the league. Base on balls, second. Stolen bases don't matter. You want to get into some of the other numbers that, you know, are important or aren't. On base percentage. Aaron Judge. Slugging. Very important number. Aaron Judge. OPS, those two numbers together. Aaron Judge. And if you want to get into the stupid categories, WAR, 9.2 wins over replacement, which I don't. It's not a stat I really put a lot of anything into. Important preseason except soccer. Again, we'll talk about the NFL. It is important. All the guys mentioned are paid by their past experience and all that. It's so what? All I care about is their performance now. Every one of those guys you mentioned is having a below average season for them. Every one. Maybe not IKF. Boy, your argument has just lost me. The question is, who wins World Series MVP? That's probably going to, at the end of the day, you're right. CA. Dodgers could win 110 games. Yankees could win 100. Even when the Yankees were on a pace to win 118 or whatever crazy number it was. I didn't care. I said it matters what happens in October because this team has failed in October over and over and over and over again. Problem with the voters. The writers do the voting. The writers watch the games and report on the games. Who do you want to vote? The fans? That's what we need. Look at the All-Star games, and you tell me you want to give the fans a vote. Judge, the guys Carlos mentioned they do. We're going to get there in just half a second, Alan. Talking about perception of those out. I get it. No, Carlos, I get it. I guarantee you, Aaron and Ohtani, in that regard, to Neil Bush's comments last week that Ohtani's overrated, it's possible he is, as great as he is. But again, he doesn't mean more to his team right now. Just doesn't. We will move on. Boy, you guys are tough today. I tell you, it's your show and you're producing and directing it now. I'm going to get out of the baseball mode now. We'll get back into it next week. Real quick, you know, not a lot of changes. The Yankees still 4.5 games up. 3 big games with the Blue Jays coming up on the 26th of this month. So you don't want that lead shrinking anymore. And the Padres and Brewers are still kind of fighting it out for that wild card in the National League. Those are the big races. The Indians have pulled away a little bit in the Central, the American League. Other than that, not a lot to report. Co-producers. What's up? Again, it's not. People can be as people. I'm not going to get into it anymore. You can still be overrated He's a great player. Yes, we're on every Sunday morning, CA, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time to 10:30, and we try to cover. We jump around what we start with. Today we started Major League Baseball. We're going to move on to college football for a few minutes, and we're going to get into the NFL before Mark Mancini comes on. So, CA, I hope you do join us. So, CA, just as a note, we've got this game on this show on Sunday morning, the Sunday Stream of Consciousness. We've got the Are You Serious debate show with Carlos, the Mad New Yorker, on Fridays at 8 a.m. And the College Football Huddle, which is on 7 p.m. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, where we cover the world of college football in great, great detail. Yeah. Tom Brady overrated? Now? Maybe. But by the way, and I got now. You see, the producers are wanting me to move me on now, suck me back in as I try to get out, to quote Al Pacino in the worst, or paraphrase Al Pacino in the worst Godfather movie. You can't compare Tom Brady and Ohtani. Tom Brady's got 7 world championships. What's Ohtani got? Thanks. I hope to see more of you. That's true. Nor should have a vote. According to the Rams player who said it in Super Bowl 36. Oh, is Tom Brady overrated? All right, guys, let's look at a little bit. We'll go to the NFL last here. We'll spend 15 minutes or so, probably 15 minutes. I want to go through this quickly, maybe even 10 minutes on the college football yesterday a little bit. Let's look at the top 25. There were some interesting scores yesterday. That's why I want to jump into this. The big game, the biggest game of the day was my Miami Hurricanes going to College Station to play this number 13. They were against number 24 Texas A&M, who looked really putrid their first 2 games, going 1-1, losing to App State last week. By the way, game day went to App State last week. Luke Combs was the guest picker. What a great atmosphere at that school yesterday. That was a lot of fun. But a stinker put up by Miami. A guy that I've called a Heisman candidate and a number 1 draft pick potential, Tyler Van Dyke, goes poof. Horrible performance by the offense yesterday. Maybe Texas A&M's better than we thought. Maybe Miami's not as good as I thought. But this was a disappointing game. This was not a fun game to watch. It was pretty dull. But they lose, and I'll get to your guys' comments in a second. I want to go through some of the scores quick because some of these are going to be easy to get through. A lot of mismatches yesterday. I did think South Carolina would find a way to keep it close against Rick's Bulldogs yesterday, closer than the spread, which was like 24. But they lost 48-7. Bama rolls over UL Monroe. Here's the SEC playing some really tough games. Of course, Ohio State now goes out and plays Toledo, which at least is FBS school. 77-21, they win. Michigan rolls over UConn. Why is Michigan playing UConn? Clemson rolls over Louisiana Tech, 48-20. Oklahoma just destroys Nebraska. Can't believe I did not grab them in the cigar box. I had them down, ready to send it. I took them out. Something on game day, just, I don't know, put a gnat in my brain. USC rolls over Fresno. Again, a team I thought might push them a little bit. 45-17. This game didn't even hit the over. I thought Fresno would score some points in this game. I think the over-under was like 74, 75. Oklahoma State rolls over Arkansas Pine Bluff. Come on, schedule somebody, guys. Nobody wants to watch these games. Kentucky 31-0 over Youngstown State. Arkansas almost gets beat by Missouri State. Washington, who we called on this show Wednesday night as a it's not an upset. They were favored. It's an upset when you look at the rankings. It says Washington was unranked. Michigan State number 11, 39-28 for Michigan State. Big win for the Huskies. If Mickey Delaney's with us, I think the Huskies are back. I said this Wednesday night. It's going to be very interesting to see them play USC. Oregon bet BYU yesterday. BYU had been playing great. BYU had beat up the Pac-12 for a couple of years now. They would have won the Pac-12 last year if they're playing in it. I think they won 4 or 5 games against Pac-12 teams, undefeated. They get killed yesterday, 41-21. No defense. Utah rolls over San Diego State, 35-17. Rocky Top beats Akron 63-6. And a game we thought could be closer, NC State beats Texas Tech 27-24. Baylor rolls over Texas State. Florida beats South Florida only by 3. Florida's not as good as they looked in their opening game against Utah. Wake Forest ekes one out, Carlos, 37-36. You did say Liberty would beat them, but again, just for them to be in the game, I think was fairly impressive. Fun game to watch here. Ole Miss 42-0 over Georgia Tech. Jeff Collins is on his way out soon. Texas beats up Texas San Antonio. I thought this might be an upset. Texas with a hangover from the Alabama game, but they win 41-21. That's an impressive win, I think, for Texas. Penn State with an impressive win in Auburn, 41-12. And Pittsburgh, 34-13 over Western Michigan. Greg Harson's going to be in big trouble in Auburn, at Auburn. Get to some comments here. Oh, we got a lot. I got a lot. Hold on. Where do we want to start? Quoting Iran players. Here we go. Best part of the show this time of year. No basketball, I know. I look at, Kenny, it's funny. I really, and out of deference to the fact that most of you guys aren't that interested, I don't get into much NBA unless it's big Knicks and stories, or there's nothing else to talk about. I've tried to squeeze it in when it's in season, and I more often than not, I chop it because we spend more time on other stuff, which is fine with me. I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. I want to talk about what gets some views for the show, too, and I can share it to the NBA groups when I have talk, but believe me, the other groups are really carrying it very well. App State winning on a Hail Mary, yes, big win for them yesterday against Troy, I believe, right? They probably should have handled them a little bit more. Well, I guess not a Hail Mary, right? Good point. But it was a last-second score to pull the game out. Haven't seen Oklahoma as physical as they were yesterday in a long time. I think Oklahoma wanted to make a statement here. I thought Nebraska might play a little better, having their new coach and maybe wanting to – I don't know. I got to believe these guys were not upset Scott Frost is gone. Miami stunk it up. They did stink it up. That offense was putrid yesterday. Not that Texas A&M was much better. All that money and they didn't win. I thought you said all that money. I didn't. First of all, I never said all that money would help them win. Carlos, you got to listen to what I say. I am the guy who's against all the money. What I said was Marco Cristobal would be in there. Oh, I did say, hold on, back up. Not NIL money, NIL money. So maybe you're not talking about that. They did make an investment in the football program as far as and again, I thought they would turn it around. I thought this team, watching them play, would go into the Clemson game undefeated. I thought if they beat Clemson, they would get to the ACC championship game and have a rematch with Clemson and a chance at the playoff. I did say that. I don't back up I don't forget the things that I predict. When I'm wrong, you'll hear me talk about it here, how wrong I was. So you're not wrong, but the money, when we talk about money, I'm talking about an investment back in the program. It will pay off over time. Miami will be a power again. And I probably I probably overreached this year. Oh, my God. I mean, do they have to play that game? Can't they just, flip a coin? It's going to be exciting when you got, UCLA coming to Jersey, right? UCLA is another team that just squeaked out a victory yesterday against a inferior opponent, theoretically inferior. Maybe they're not. Wake plays down to their opponents. Listen, Liberty's not a bad football team, number one. And number two, that's fine, play down, but they found a way to win. So that's really all that matters. New coach didn't help Nebraska. Nope. It's going to be interesting to see where Nebraska goes for the new coach. I mean, they've gone for the hot assistant. They've gone for, I'm sorry. They went to the assistant coach in the beginning of Frank Zolik. They went to Bo Pelini, who, in retrospect, all those 9-4 seasons look pretty good now for Nebraska. They went for an ex-NFL coach in Bill Callahan. They went for an ex-NFL coach and college coach who did really good things at Oregon State, of all places. Mike Riley, that didn't work out. They went the hot young coach in Scott Frost. That didn't work out. I don't know where they go now. The trend right now is to find the hot assistant coach, the guy who's been out there like Venable for Oklahoma. Where are you going to find that guy, though? Kansas beat Houston, which is a nice win. Yeah, Duke wins to it. Probably the most unlikely matchup of undefeated teams, and I'll agree with you, boy, I want to call everybody Carlos today. Allen is Duke and Kansas for sure. So Kansas could very well be 4-0. Best start they've had since the Mark Mancini days, and I still think once they get to conference play, they're going to be in trouble, but we'll see. Their new coach is doing very well out there. He's done a good job of turning the culture around there. Carlos did pick Penn State to come in and beat Auburn. CA, hard to attract talent to Nebraska. Should have built a dome over a decade ago. I'm not big on domes, number one. I don't know if that's the big deal. Now, the big deal, one of the big deals for Nebraska, was when they moved to the Big Ten. When they were in the Big Eight and then the Big 12, they were very good at recruiting Southern California. They were very big on recruiting in the Northwest, as well as recruiting at home, obviously. But as some of the teams in the West have gotten better, or as Oregon ascended through the rankings back in the 80s and 90s, I guess, and 2000s, they started to eat up a lot of those prospects. And the Pac-12 teams expanded, and they lost some of their Southern California influence. They haven't been relevant. I don't know, 9-4. I think they won under Mike Riley, like I want to say almost 20 years ago. Tulane beat Kansas State, another team that I thought was under the radar in the Big 12. That's a nice win for Tulane. Tulane almost beat Oklahoma last year, if you remember. So they've had some pretty good success against the Big 12. Nebraska ran out of gas before the middle of the first quarter. Allery reporters are saying USC is the third best team. Well, of course they are. By the way, the only team in LA that Mark Mancini will say anything good about is USC. I still got to see them play somebody. I don't know how good Fresno State is. The Pac-12 is not looking very good to my. Maybe Oregon might be better than we thought, which means Georgia's really, really good. By the way, feel bad, Rick. I said they'd take a step back, which, by the way, would be 10-2. But I'm probably wrong. Yeah, it is ridiculous. I agree. There's no way I'm putting USC ahead of Ohio State, Oklahoma, or Michigan, I guess. Nebraska fans are trying to urge. I heard this, by the way, yesterday, and they talked a little bit on game day, and I read some articles. Urban Meyer is not coming out of retirement to coach Nebraska. No. I don't think Urban Meyer's coaching again. If he does, there's going to be a better job open potentially at some point in Texas. I don't see Steve Scarsazian lasting too long there unless they really surprise everybody and win the Big 12 this year or have a representative season. I do think he could be in trouble. But Urban Meyer's not going to Nebraska at this point. Although it would be a feather in his cap if he could restore the tradition there. Penn State Auburn was a good first half to watch and lots of talent on both teams. I'm just not a big James Franklin fan, and I was busy with some games I wagered on. So, yeah, Auburn's, listen, Harson's probably in trouble there. Nebraska's a historic program, dedicated fan base. They were the Bama of the 90s. Listen, this team, you go back into the 90s, man, they had a 5-year span that was remarkable. But Tom Osborne isn't in that building anymore. There you go. There you go. I don't know if they had losing seasons under Bob Devaney. Maybe his first season, he took over, the coach before Tom Osborne. I don't know if Bob Devaney had a losing season. Maybe his first one. Yeah, this used to be one of the great rivalry games every year. Played on Black Friday usually. I didn't say he couldn't coach again. Taking receipts. Why is taking receipts such a big deal now? I'm so tired of that phrase in just a week. They had him when they were not very good. He didn't play in those 90s teams. Anyway. That's the big story. Let me see if there's any big news we need to talk about college football. We'll go into much more detail, obviously, on Wednesday nights with college football. Houston wide receivers got into a fight during that KU game. That was kind of interesting. Manti Te'o returned to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame got into the win column yesterday, so good for them against Cal. And, they're calling that a Hail Mary pass, by the way. And that's about it. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to get into much more of this on Wednesday night, but I want to get into what do we got here? We got a couple things here I'd missed, and I'll go back. Hard to fill the seats in Nebraska. The weather, again, they packed that stadium when they had a good team, which is the key. Everybody needs to have a good team. I mean, who goes to see bad teams? You don't pack stadiums. Some teams will. Not for an extended period of time, though. If you're bad for 20 years, 15 years, 2010 was their only conference title since Nebraska left. Who was they had to be Bo Pelini? Not sure who was a coach in 2010. I want to say Pelini. Let's get into the NFL a little bit. Let's talk about week one. I want to start with week one. An interesting by the way, before we get into this, I want to show you guys something. And I don't know who's who here, right? So I'm going to scroll through this. Here's our pool. After 1 week, scroll 28. And by the way, CA, if you want to get in this, let me know, and I'll post the link on the TGI Sports Talk page, or maybe I'll put it in the comments. Because we do drop the worst week. So you could get in theoretically and not really be hurt. I'm not sure who S. Craw is. If he's in the room, he could speak up. He was a leader with 9, so not a great week for anybody. I don't know who the next two are. They also had 9 wins, and the Mad New Yorker comes in fourth at 8-8. You can see the rest. I don't know who this is. I do know. I'm guessing the Perth Red Raider fan is Rick Sherlock, I think. That's me. Headless Horseman, not sure who that might be. I know who this guy, the retired smoke pocking guy, is with 6 wins, by the way. TGI Sports, by the way, had 7. Rick had 7. Drew's Worthless Picks. You're a little hard on yourself there, Drew. 6 wins. Boomer Sooner, we know, is Allen with 6. Hales Mill Golf Pro, Chris Mathewson, 4 and 2. Pedro only got 1 pick in. I don't know who that is. Only got 1 in. And my guess is this might be Mancini. Not sure. No picks in. So that's where we stand as a group after 1 week. Let's see. What did I miss here? 325 sellout streak, longest. And who is it? Whose is that? I can send you, like I said, CA. Just give me a note. In fact, let me do this while I'm here. I can put it right in the chat. I can invite more friends. Copy the link, and we'll put it in the notes here. See, if you want to get in, just rename your team when you get in, guys. If you don't know how to rename your team, let me do this one more time. I'm going to show you something here real quick. So for you guys who have not renamed your team, here's all you need to do. Go to your team. So there's my team, right? You got this little wheel here, and it's going to let you name your entry. That's all you got to do. 2 steps. Open up your team just like you were going to make picks. And we'll go through my picks in a little bit. And as I said, click this wheel up at the top, and you're going to get these couple options. You just take out whatever's in there, put in your picks. It's not that hard. So I know you guys can handle this, and we'll go through the picks here in just a little bit. So if you want to get in, CA, we dropped the worst week, so your 0 from week 1 won't hurt you that badly. Okay, let's get into last week's games and the overreactions. Where are they, guys? You tell me the things you took away that are not that big a deal. It's week 1. I know Carlos is going to tell me it's still training camp. Well, we talked about it earlier, by the way. Lots of injuries last week. You know, TJ Watt, Dak Prescott being 2 of the bigger ones. But injuries all over the board. Mac Jones gets hurt. You know what it is? Again, lack of training camp. Training camp is important. It's not physical enough. Talked about, and Rick brought it up earlier, Jim Jeffcoat talked about this, or the question got posed to me, and I threw it back to Jim, who is a borderline Hall of Fame defensive lineman. He said the same thing. They don't hit enough. The training camps are not physical enough. These guys are not ready for real football come week 1. That's why you can't be using those as, and they don't play in preseason games. So they're not ready to play. They're not ready to get hit. They haven't gotten hit. So again, there are ways, and Kenny played quarterback, obviously, in high school, but it's obviously a much different situation, but there's ways to get hit without getting hurt. It's how you learn how to absorb those hits, right? Especially quarterbacks. Tom Brady did it for years. Tom Brady, for all the people don't think he's a candy ass, Tom Brady get whacked around more than any quarterback I can ever remember watching, or as much, sorry. And rarely did he get hurt where he had to come out of the game. One time he had a season-ending injury, but that was a dirty hit by Pollard from the Chiefs at that point. Thursday night game was a sham. The NFL needs more money, and they aren't they rich enough? It's sham as far as what, the production and whatnot. I thought that's a good point, Kenny. And maybe it's an overreaction. It falls into the category. So Amazon Prime had their first Thursday night game on Thursday. I thought Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit were good. They need to get a little bit more chemistry amongst them. I like Herbstreit a lot. I think his style will translate to the pro game. He does a great job in college. He's the busiest man in sports, man. He's still on game day. He's still doing the maiden game on Saturday nights, and he's doing NFL Thursday nights now. So I thought the actual game call was fine. The pregame and the postgame was unwatchable. They came back. Mics were open. So some of the production value wasn't up to NFL standards. This is their first go at it, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. CA, welcome and get ready to rumble, says the Mad New Yorker. Dak Prescott injury is a blessing in disguise. I don't see how it can be a blessing in disguise. This team, by the way, sorry, Alan, This team's going nowhere. Cooper Rush is not lead. Is it Cooper Rush? What's his name? Maybe I got the wrong name. Let me make sure, because I do that. Where you guys can correct me. Cooper Rush, look at that, all over it. Cooper Rush isn't taking his team anywhere. Nowhere. And I know Dak's injury wasn't as bad as originally feared, but there is no guarantee when he'll be back. Well, I guess to Kenny's point, maybe it's a blessing in disguise because they don't try to throw the ball so much and they utilize the running game. But I'm not sure how good their offensive line is. So I don't think it's an overreaction to say the Cowboys are in big trouble. Allen played quarterback in high school as well. Well, good. So you know what it's like to get hit. And it's important to get hit in practice to learn. Your body can learn to absorb hits. Conditioning and hitting, Carlos, hitting, physical. If the guy can be in the best condition possible, if he's not getting hit, his body is not what am I trying to get at? It's the repetition of getting hit. It's learning to absorb those hits. It's learning how to fall when you're getting sacked as a quarterback. I always said I'd rather be hit than hitting someone. Defense killed my sports life. Well, there you go. Kenny was a very good athlete at Perth. Great job. All right, good. Good to have you, CA. Good to have you here again. Great to have you with the show. Please like, and if you're not following TGI Sports Talk's page, please do that. If you do that, you'll see when the shows go live. You'll get notified. And share. Do me a favor. Share it with your friends because we're always looking for new people. We're trying to get over that 2,000 mark here soon. Maybe week 1 EF could actually produce. Yeah, it could produce better results if we actually did things other than stand around doing jumping jacks and walking around with quarterbacks in red shirts. And anyway, Cooper Rush. I'm not going to spend any more time on a preseason. He can take them to dinner and a movie. Rush will be fine. They have the Giants, Commanders next 2 weeks. That's 2 wins. But listen, you better not speak up too fast. I told all of you, and I've said it on the Mac and Jack show. I've said it with Dan Harris on our Let's Talk New York show. Oh, by the way, there's another one we do, CA. I do a show with Dan Harris out in the UK. Let's Talk Sports. That one's at 2:00. I don't run that show. I'm just a co-host. Anyway, I said the Giants would be much better this year. Saquon Barkley, a second year removed from his injury, would be much better. Now, is it an overreaction to think the Giants are that good after one game and Saquon Barkley's all the way back with 188 yards, I think, last week? It's probably too soon to say he's all the way back, but his confidence level's back. Mentally, you've got to have it. After an injury like that, it's very hard for them to come back, and he's showing now that he's going to come back and be tough. I'm going to relax. I'm not going to relax as you keep telling me training camp's not important. Nowhere in your comments previously did you say anything about hitting, Carlos. You got to do that. Oh, my God, Arnold. Yeah, I'm not going to. Arnold, welcome to the show, but I really can't post. That's kind of long, and I feel for you, buddy, but I'm really not going to put that up on the show here. So, again, good luck to you in your life and whatnot, and some of it got cut off. So, listen, I'm not going to put that up. So, anyway. Texas players actually left the game with a concussion once. They should. Keep them on the straight and yeah, right. Only once. I had several in a dislocated shoulder on defense. Right. Kenny was a heck of a first baseman, I can tell you, in fast pitch softball, though. All the time, I believe. Maybe Kenny and Alan can speak to that. I'm guessing they hit all the time. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's move on. That's enough of that topic anyway. If you look at the team, I'm not going to spend the rest of this time on the Cowboys either, by the way. Got lucky. All right. Well, you guess. Listen, this is why we play the games, right? There is zero reason that I should be any more confident in the Cowboys than I should be in the Commanders. Oh, my gosh. The team formerly known as the Redskins. Or anybody. I'm not even confident in Eagles. But that could be an overreaction. Let's just bet a couple. Yeah, I'll give you a few more overreactions. I'm not ready to count the Patriots out. Patriots played really good on defense. One of the scores was on a strip fumble, a sack fumble. The other play, another touchdown, was on a broken coverage and bad tackling by Bentley and a bad a path to the runner by Duggar on the Waddle touchdown near the half. Other than that, the game's close. So Patriots offense has to play better. They got to protect Mac Jones, and they got to get Kendrick Bourne involved this week. Kendrick Bourne's a huge part of this offense in making a go, and 2 touches is not really any good. Am I going to take anything from the Saints Falcons? No. I will take something away from the 49ers. That game was played in awful conditions. I get it, but you can't lose to the Bears. I don't care about the situation. Bengals and Steelers. Bengals should have won this game. 7 sacks, 11 quarterback hits, 4 interceptions, 1 fumble, a missed short field goal, and a missed extra point. Just gave the game away to the Steelers. I think the Bengals will be okay. They got to fix that offensive line a little bit, just so it's, feasible to protect their quarterback. Eagles fell apart on defense with a 17-point lead. I'm not going to read much into that. The Jets lose 24-9. I'm not going to read much into it because I had Joe Flacco throwing the ball 59 times. Not a recipe to win games. The thing I'll read into it is Robert Saleh needs to shut up and stop taking receipts. And maybe the fans wouldn't boo if they didn't have 50 years worth of awful football to boo about. Yeah, and to Alan's comment about the team formerly known as the Redskins struggling against the Jaguars last week, I think the Jaguars are a team on the rise. It's not a playoff contending team. It's a team that will be much more competitive. I said this during the year. I think I said it during our preview show. They got a really good coach in Peterson, and I think they will start to make some progress. I think they beat the Colts today, by the way, which we'll get to the predictions here in just a couple of minutes. Let me go through some other scores, and then I'll get to your comments, and we'll get to some predictions, and we'll have Mark Mancini on here near the top of the hour. Browns and Panthers, I can't read much into this. I mean, this Baker Mayfield was just okay. Nick Chubb had a great game, 141 yards on the ground. Good job for the Browns. If they can run the ball with authority and keep Jacoby Brissett from having to carry this team, maybe they can survive 11 weeks without Deshaun Watson. And assuming Deshaun Watson can stay out of staying off massage tables, or maybe just stay on them when he does have a massage and get a massage and go home, maybe they'll be able to survive this. Colts. What I took away from the Colts is I don't think the Colts are as good as we think they are. I think Matty Ryan's on the downside of his career, and I do not think he's going to make this team any better. And I love Matt Ryan. Played college football at Boston College with a good friend of mine's son, Josh Beekman. So we went and saw a lot of these games in college, and I got to meet the kid a few times. He was a good kid, and his dad is a nut job, but a lot of fun. And I've always rooted for Matty, except for in the Super Bowl. But I got to believe he's on the downside. The Giants and Titans, I mean, what are we going to take away from this? I can't read too much into it. I want to see the Giants play. I think the Carolina-Giant matchup will be an interesting one today. I liked what I saw to Saquon Barkley, started 164 yards. I said 188. Daniel Jones played better, mistake-free football, basically. Vikings over the Packers. Look, the Packers had a stinker last year to start the season. But I think if Kirk Cousins can just manage games and not lose games, and he's got one of the best, he may have the best wide receiver that nobody knows about in football, Justin Jefferson. Great game last week, 9 receptions, 184 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's got weapons. He's got Cook in the backfield. They've got some good weapons on this team. I think this team with a new head coach and a new attitude may dethrone the Packers this year. Chiefs. Am I in the wrong game? Oh, that's right. The Chiefs was this week. Chiefs last week, they dismantled the Cardinals on the road, and you saw them win Thursday night. And I think again the demise of the Kansas City Chiefs is greatly exaggerated. Chargers, Raiders, again, you saw Derek Carr turn the ball over in a big spot. Derek Carr is the kind of guy who's just going to do that constantly. Anyway, Buccaneers, Brady plays fine. Nothing exciting. Fournette runs for 127 yards, and they beat up on the Cowboys, as we talked about. And you had the Seahawks Broncos game on Monday night. What the coach is doing, going for a 58. First of all, you don't call any – you let the clock run for, I don't know, 40 seconds without calling a timeout. Then you call a timeout, and then you try to kick a 58-yard field goal. You had plenty of time to run more plays. Awful. Absolutely awful. All right. Where are we here? No, I'm not getting into that anymore today. Good morning, Anthony Price. Great to have you with us again this morning. Hope you're doing well. Alan, lock today. Lions over name redacted. Upset picks Bears over Packers. That's a big one. I'm hoping the Bears make the crybaby really cry. Falcons game almost went my way. Do not sleep on Mariota. Listen, there's just not enough. There's not enough weapons there. He'll be way better quarterback than Geno, which Geno played fine Monday night. Danny Dimes and even Cooper Rush. Well, he's definitely better than Cooper Rush. I still say Daniel Jones will. If Daniel Jones had been a second-round draft pick, nobody be as excited about or as worked up they have been about his progress. He's a young guy with who's played with a bunch of different systems, and he's gotten his game better every single year. The Vikings did win. How long have I been in sports journalism? This is my sideline. It's for fun, CA. I've been doing this since August of 2020. Started doing it for fun, and I'm still having fun. Got a real job, though, where I do make money. We're not making anything doing this. Maybe someday. Had 58 seconds and 2 timeouts and let the timer run out. Horrendous coaching. Look at this is on nobody but the head coach. Nobody. If this was Andy Reid, you'd be all over Andy Reid because Andy Reid does this kind of stuff all the time or has historically in his career. It's not a head coach. And if he passes the blame, I'd be ticked off at him. I like the Vikings over the Eagles myself, Anthony. We're going to get to those picks right now. They dropped the ball on Thursday in the fourth quarter. They should have won the game. They should have won the game at the end. You got the best quarterback they've had since John Elway. They got a guy they traded to get them to the next level, and they don't even come close. Oh, they come close, but then they make a bonehead play. Let the time keep running and running with timeouts. Go watch a video. There's a video because Peyton and Eli do their show on Monday nights. But they had a video. Maybe they did the game Thursday night too. I don't know. Oh, this was a Monday night game, right? So on ESPN2, they do the Eli and Peyton watching the game and commenting and whatnot. It's pretty fun. But watch his face as they're not calling timeout. Crazy. Let me go through my picks this week. I had Kansas City -3.5, so I lose. I lose on that one. I do win in Drew's pool, which is no points. Thank you for that. I got the Jets. I got the Jets +6.5 today over the Browns. I just think they'll figure out a way to keep this game closer. The Browns are not Baltimore. Jacoby Brissett's not Lamar Jackson. I think they'll keep this close. I do think the Commodores, a.k.a. the team formerly known as the Redskins, will go into Detroit and beat them. I do not think Detroit is ready to I don't think they're ready to take a next jump yet. I like the Saints +2.5 at home against the Buccaneers. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers have struggled with Saints, as somebody mentioned earlier in the show. I like the Giants laying 2.5 at home against Carolina. I know Matt Rule's coaching for his life, man, but he's going to start out 0-2. I like Daniel Jones to be able to keep control of the football, Saquon Barkley to be able to run it, and the Giants able to keep that Carolina offense in check. My heart will bet lay the 1.5 with the Patriots against the Steelers. No TJ Watt. That means a lot of other people will not be as good because you don't have to allocate as much resources to paying attention to TJ Watt. Lets you concentrate on the rest of those guys who he makes better. Plus Kendrick Bourne, I think, will be a much better or bigger part of this offense. I think the Patriot defense played very well last week in shutting down Miami's running game. I can see that happening again today against the Steelers. And if they have to rely on Mitchell Trubisky, I think he'll turn the ball over a couple of times. This game's going to be kind of close. 19-16, I'll call this game. And if you've got comments, guys, I'll be back there in a second. Jaguars +4.5 at home. I predict an outright win here for the Jaguars. That will be and we'll get into my locks and don't be surprised when Mr. Mancini joins us. So the Baltimore Ravens laying 3.5 to the Dolphins. I will take the Ravens at home. I'll also take the Rams to just lay the wood to Atlanta today. 10.5-point favorites. I think they're going to come in this game very ornery after their flop in the opening game of the NFL season against the Buffalo Bills. I will take the 49ers. I almost changed this pick. I'm going to take the 49ers minus the 8.5. I think they're going to come out a little angry today. I think they give Trey Lance a little bit better chance. The weather will be better. Obviously, it couldn't be worse. And I do not think the Seahawks are as good as they looked on Thursday night or Monday night. I'll take the Bengals minus 7.5 at the Cowboys. Cooper Rush. I think this Bengal defense will be able to stymie the Dallas Cowboy offense. It's going to be a difference. If the difference is going to be if Cincinnati can win this game and cover the spread, they got to protect Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow's got to take better care of the football. Can't have 5 turnovers and 7 sacks. If they do, this game could be much, much closer, and the Cowboys could pull out a victory. But I'll take the Bengals. I will take the Broncos, laying 9.5 against the Houston Texans. Just don't think this team is ready to kind of Houston's not ready to jump up to where Denver's level should be. I said Denver would be a disappointment this year. Denver's going to be angry. The coach is hopefully going to get his head out of his butt, and they're going to get this together for a 10-point win today. All in all, though, I'm telling you, Denver will not make the playoffs. I'll take Arizona plus 5.5 against the Raiders because, again, Derek Carr finds ways to lose games. Maybe this is a mistake on my part with the stinker the Cardinals put up last week at home. Let's hope they come in angry today. I'll take the Packers. I know I think Allen had the Bears beating the Packers, but I will take the Packers with the points. Again, another team that should be very angry today. I'll take the Bills minus 9.5, bit high against Tennessee, but Tennessee is not a team that I can see. I think this team will be much worse than it was last year. You stop Derrick Henry, you will stop this team. And I like the points in the Monday night game. I'll take Minnesota over Philadelphia. What do we got here before we get we got that. Cooper Rush beat Kirk Cousins last year. I'll give him some. I'll give again. Any one game. What did Mike White for the Jets? What did he do against Cincinnati last year? Nobody saw that coming. What did he do after that? Much bigger difference coming into the NFL and having a big game when nobody's ready, prepared for you, than to do it on a consistent basis week after week. I can probably come up with 20 examples in my head, and these guys all failed later on. I can't put a lot of stock in that. They'd be really crying starting in the division and staring at a road trip to Tampa Bay. Yeah, I agree. Listen, I think Green Bay is not going to win that division. I think I had them in the playoffs. I'd have to look at my chart, Alan. But I do think I had them getting a wild card, but not winning the division. I have the Vikings taking over that division. Got to be like coaches who are time takers. Really? Oh, my God. Yeah, because that's what you want your coaches doing, right? Taking receipts. Oh, I'm on week. The hell with it. I'm not even going to bother changing it. Let me get back to the comments here. You don't take the ball out of the best player's hands unless he isn't any good. Don't disagree. You got Russell Wilson to win that game. You got Russell Wilson just for that moment. That's why you got him. Jesus, you get all kinds of time and 2 timeouts, and you do not try to they don't have the same offense, Alan. Who are we talking about? The Cowboys again? Yeah, I don't. Anthony, can't remember. Are you a Cowboy fan, Anthony? I don't remember. He can still be a decent quarterback, just got to run the ball better. Listen, the only way the Cowboys get through this is if they really commit to the running game and Zeke and Pollard step up to become the best running backs in football and really take the pressure off Cooper Rush. And he just needs to manage the game. If they can do that, I'm not confident the coaching staff is able to do that. They have a more competent coaching staff. I might say they could survive Cooper Rush, and it might even be a blessing in disguise that Kenny talked about. I just don't see it. The Jets flying out of L.A., LGA, just stay grounded and enjoy the new airport. Who enjoys an airport? Oh, my gosh. Panthers win in New York. Could happen. Steelers defense will be okay even without Watt. Listen, I didn't say they wouldn't be good. But Hayward and Fitzpatrick and some of these other guys benefit from the resources and the time and the distraction that you have of having to account for TJ Watt. So these guys, while still good, and I'm not saying that Pittsburgh defense is going to be that bad, they're not going to score 20 points of Patriots, but I think the Patriots defense will be able to keep the Steelers in check as well. And again, they've got a really good head coach who can probably figure this out. They haven't changed that defensive system, so But TJ Watt being out makes a big difference. Read the memo. Pittsburgh has players on defense. Bench Trubisky already. 1 week. So you think they'd be better off playing Pickett? I wouldn't. And again, we'll see what Mark Mancini has to say, which I'm sure is going to be all roses about Pittsburgh. But it's hilarious to me. They got to win. Didn't play any better in my mind probably than the Patriots played, especially on offense. And, this team's not a good football team. Their defense is okay. And as far as the memo, I have a memo. I know about the stale players on defense. All I'm telling you is TJ Watt makes those two guys and the rest of that defense better. And again, if you don't know that, I can't explain it to you any differently. All world players like TJ Watt make players around them better. His brother, the same way. Bengals will win, but won't cover the spread. You're picking against your team. Never pick against your team, Alan. Cowboys will win off Zach anyway. Make up your mind. You just said it. You're Zeke, sorry. I thought you just said they were going to win or lose. You're a little schizophrenic today, Alan. You had Minnesota win and Green Bay in a wild card. That's what I thought. Yeah. I had the opposite. Right. Bill Pulver's with us. I believe so. We got California covered. Oh, who gets me upset? There's always somebody. Carlos got me upset today. We aren't upset. We're just having fun. It doesn't take much. Because this is what I like about this show. I like the back and forth. I like the heated exchanges. I like the repeated nonsensical comments that I have to respond to from Carlos. No, honestly, guys, I like the comments. I like the back and forth. It's all fun. CA, film on Rush. Worse offense. And Cincinnati are going to be motivated. Yes, Cowboys win. I'm not sure if that's. I think he's picking Cincinnati. TJ Watt is like Von Miller. They stand alone. The rest of the defense grinded out. You're wrong. You're so wrong, Carlos. You're so wrong on this. Von Miller also made the Buffalo defense better in week 1. Do you watch the games? Seriously, again, we come up with this all the time. We talk about this. I know you watch the games. How do you not see? They don't stand alone, just do their own thing, or they might, but you have to allocate resources and time and energy and distraction to account for them, which in that case makes everybody around them better. Lawrence Taylor made the Giants defense better. Von Miller made the Bronco defense better. He's making the Buffalo defense better. J.J. Watt did it in Texas. Hasn't been able to do it in Arizona because he's been hurt most of the time. But these guys have to be accounted for, which makes the guys around them better. I don't know. Drew's got most of the opposite. One of us is going to have a good week or a bad week, right? Or we'll just go half and half and we'll be – well, you can't even be 500 anymore. Oh, gosh. I was under the thought I had most of the offbeat comments. Not all. No. Kenny, yours are offbeat, yes. Right? Carlos is the ones that set me off more than you do. Once in a while. Actually, what were you bringing up earlier that I disagreed with? I don't remember. I didn't take my Prevagen this morning. So no Mark Mancini so far. I don't know if Mark's going to pop in or not. We'll see. Oop, we got that. Okay, so anyway, what else? While we wait for Mark, let's see what other news is going around the NFL. Let's come up with some news and notes around the NFL. Bob Kraft speaking out. It's interesting. Bob Kraft not known to really get involved and comment a lot on the approach to games, the approach to practice, whatever. Bob Kraft speaking out this week was very interesting. Hearing him say, whatever doghouse Bourne's in, he better get out of. Now, the problem doesn't appear to be with the head coach, with Bourne. He and Matt Patricia seem to have a failure to communicate. Bourne says he understands the coach's frustrations with him, and maybe they've smoothed this over, and I hope they have, because Kendrick Bourne played really well for the Patriots last year, and he's important to the to this team having some success on offense going forward. Some other news and notes around the league today. This won't make me change my pick, I don't think, but Kamara is out for the Saints against the Bucks. Tyrod Taylor, the Giants' backup quarterback, is suing the Chargers doctor over the 2020 punctured lung he had. If you remember, and that was probably good fortune for the Chargers, because they got to play Justin Herbert when he probably should have been playing anyway, and he was able to get himself indoctrinated to the NFL. Probably that punctured lung that Tyrod Taylor got was good news for the Chargers, but he is going to be suing. Oh gosh, he's going to be suing the doctor who administered that shot that gave him the punctured lung. Pittman's out against the Jaguars today. Another reason for me to love the Jaguars. Fournette and Evans back to that Saints game. They're scheduled to play. Pete Carroll, interestingly enough, before the win against Denver, cited the 72 undefeated Dolphins. Which is in the 50th anniversary of them going undefeated, 14-0 during the regular season, 3-0 in the playoffs, and winning the Super Bowl. And he asked his players why they couldn't accomplish the same feat. I really love Pete Carroll. I know there are people that don't. Jaguars? Jaguars? Where are you getting that one from? But Pete Carroll is delusional if he thinks this team is even going to win. I said they wouldn't win 2 games. Well, they're halfway there, so maybe they're a little better than I thought. But if he thinks they're anywhere near the 72 Dolphins, he's lost his mind. Keith Engel doesn't like the LaGuardia renovations I take. I don't like airports. I hate them. Judging that other guy, I can't spell his name. What? Oh, Tani? Oh, yeah, you got me going with that. That's right, too. That is one of the things that, listen, I've got really hot buttons, right? And that's one that sets me off. You guys know Brady's another one that sets me off, although I'm on the other side of the Brady fence right now. Kraft doesn't have time to speak out. He's in a massage parlor with Watson. Listen, he's not with Watson. It's a much different situation. He's in a massage parlor, paid for the services that he got, which were, not forced on anybody. Not going to dive deep into that because I know Carlos will jump on that one. Gabe Davis probably out for, the Bills, though, have such a plethora of weapons, man, on offense. People thought Cole Beasley not coming back to that team was going to be a big deal. It's obviously a big deal. I'm wondering if it looks like Mark called in and we missed him. That's a shame. Well, looks like Mark Mancini won't be joining us. So you guys are on the rest of the Jaguars. What's a Jaguar? Did I say Jaguar? Not enough coffee. Oh, gosh. What else we got? Give me some news, guys. What else can we talk about here? What did I miss? We can go anywhere you guys want to go. What haven't I covered? Want to go to the NBA? No, we won't do that. Let's see what I can come up with here. Gotta fill. You know, happy days are here again. No West Coast Bull. Listen, I like Mark. I really do. Mark's a good guy. He's a hardworking guy. This guy does it. In some days he does 7 shows, but his LA bias or anti LA bias is just foolish. I mean, because you can't just hate teams for the sake of hate. I mean, you can hate them, but you have to be. I try to be. I think I am very, very open-minded. Yes, there are teams I hate, but if they're good, I tell you they're going to be good. If they're bad, I tell you they're going to be bad. I tell you when my team's bad. I get bashed for knocking the Yankees. Jaguars. Oh, whatever. It's also foliage, and, you know, I also know it's not foliage, and it's not, you know, gosh, I don't know what to tell you, Drew. I'm going to talk like I talk. I can't, you know, if I say Jaguars, Jaguars. I have said Jaguars for the rest of my entire, not my entire life, since their entire lives. I don't care. Oh, that's what happens when you don't have enough content. Happy days are here. What do we got? Roger Federer retired. That's a good topic. Great career for Roger Federer, one of the best tennis players of a generation and probably in history, and somebody who really got it, I think. You know, you see a lot of athletes that don't, and I won't name some of the tennis people that I think the men, there's a lot of guys that get it now. I think Nadal gets it a lot. And when I say get it, I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. And Roger Federer was a tremendous athlete, tremendous ambassador for the sport of tennis, and he'll be missed. What do you got here, CA? Even first class wasn't comfortable experience anymore after 9/11. Charter is yeah. I wish I could do that. It's just, everything's a hassle, and I get why it is. Poor guy's not even here to defend himself, for crying out loud. You can buy very fine sandpaper too. Kenny hates all the New York teams. Well, there's only, I mean, none of the football. There's only one football team that plays in New York. That's Buffalo. I love it when the Giant fans get on me for being a Patriot fan. And no bandwagon jumper here, by the way, guys. I had season tickets when they were awful. And, but they get on me. How can you root for a team from Boston? Well, first of all, Boston's not, you know, Foxborough's not Boston. It's 25 miles from Boston. And as I say to the people here locally will understand that when people say that to me, I would say, is Amsterdam Albany? No, it's not. So they're not a Boston team. And you also don't root for a team that even plays in the city of New York. So don't tell me you're a New York fan. Anyway. So there's only one football team to hate. Carlos was a shopper at the U.S. Open for his pregnant wife back in the day. Shopper. What's that mean? You did her shopping? Literally? Interesting. Did he tip well? Living, you know, don't get me going on Liv. And I think, Kenny, we're probably on the wrong side of this one, you and I, or opposite sides of this one. I don't have a problem with Liv Golf bringing up a new league. Don't care, or a new tour. Competition's good, right? If there was a league that could be viable to compete against the NFL, I'd be all for it. None of them have been viable. Same with Major League Baseball. So I'm not against that. I'm not against, I'm not necessarily a big fan of, the way they pay players just to show up. I think it's kind of cool they let them wear shorts now. I don't care about that so much. Oh, that's all cool. My problem is where the money comes from. And I don't understand why more people don't have a problem with it. Is it a political issue? No, I think it's like a human being issue. For the Saudis to be, sports washing their money and their reputations, are trying to anyway, and from all accounts being pretty successful doing it, I think these players should be ashamed of themselves. I really do. To take their money and put it in your pocket with the things they've been responsible for, I don't know how they sleep at night. Pete Sampras is still the greatest. That's tennis is interesting because you wonder how, like, the Jimmy Connors of the world and even Rod Lavers, McEnroe, I still think was the best myself. Well, how would they play with the equipment that guys have today? The golf is the same kind of thing. How would people say Nicklaus couldn't compete with these guys? Well, Nicklaus had the equipment these guys have, and maybe the workout regimen, but I don't think being big is all that big a deal. The equipment is what really is made advances in tennis and in golf. So, but Sampras was a great player. I was working and didn't have a way to get a picture. Did he tip you, though, is what I'm asking. There you go. I like to refer to Amsterdam as just a city, Drew. And my wife gets very confused when she says, like today, she'll say, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to say I'm going to go to the city." She'll think I'm driving to New York. I'm talking about Amsterdam. But when you grew up in Perth, Amsterdam was the city. Yes, I ran around the U.S. Open grounds for tennis players' families and getting their merchandise. Did you get tipped well by these guys? I want to know how they tip. Always interested in that stuff. Oh, okay, we're on the golf. We're St. I don't know why I thought we were on opposite ends of this, Kenny, but there's so many people that are okay with this. It's amazing to me. So frustrating. Again, I'm not going to go into it unless I need to. That's fine. I don't watch soccer that much, so I don't have an opinion. I don't think that's probably okay. But in this case, I've got a very clear case of one of the greatest tragedy in this country, orchestrated by people that this country has backed. They've been the backers of terrorist states for decades, centuries. Probably not centuries. And to take that blood money from these guys, I am the biggest, or was the biggest, Phil Mickelson fan in the world. These guys don't even need the money. But I guess if somebody's going to give you $250,000 just to show up, how do you say no? I guess it depends on what you need and how well you want to sleep at night. You didn't get tips. I got wages, bonuses at the end of the week. They didn't tip, though. That's not cool. Harder to judge unless you see athletes live, especially tennis. It's a good point. That's a good point. Some sports, and I think hockey's the same is the same way. CA, to be honest with you, we do a lot of hockey during hockey season too. CA, I don't know if you're a hockey fan, but I would say, even in golf, I'll be honest with you, as I've gone to major golf tournaments, you have a whole different, and Kenny, I'm sure will back me up on this. You have a whole different opinion on how good these guys are when you're sitting there watching them up close with a shot you watched on TV that didn't, it was nice. To watch the way these guys can get out of trouble is amazing. Do we think that Bartolo is really? I think Colon might be really retired. And if he comes back with the Mets, he could wear this Vogel box uniforms, I think, Drew. So I think they could probably save some money there. They can just, use each other's uniforms. Carlos in the state soccer is the same second tier sport just for that reason. Well, I don't know if it's for that reason, but it's certainly soccer is fine. We have a lot of soccer fans here every 4 years when the World Cup's coming up, which I think is, if I'm not mistaken, Carlos, this November or is it next? This is November, I think, right? So we'll have a lot of soccer fans. I'm interested when the World Cup comes around, but I just can't get into a daily grind of it. Adam Graves is an underrated player when you want to watch him. When you want to watch him play as a player. Good point. And again, I think I said hockey is another sport that I appreciate, at least the talent of these guys when you see them in person, because it's hockey is a good sport, but it's much better in person than on TV. And the same with tennis and the same with golf. He played already for the Mets this year. He played Old Timers Day, right? He didn't hit a home run, did he? Oh, by the way, I will say this. One thing I should have pointed out, especially for you Mets fans, I wanted to say a quick rest in peace to John Stearns, the bad dude they called him when he played for the Mets. He was a really, really good catcher, 4-time All-Star, I think, but played on some really bad Met teams. He was one of the few things that Met fans had to root for back in the day, and I didn't want the show to go by. We only got a few minutes left to go by without, giving our condolences to his family. He passes away just a few weeks, after that Mets Old Timers Day, and he did find a way to show up, and actually was in the batting cage. And if you saw pictures of him, I would not have known that was John Stearns if I wasn't told. So. Godspeed, John Stearns. You were a talented athlete. By the way, also was drafted in the NFL. I think he played cornerback or safety, maybe with Colorado. The golfers are without a doubt the most talented athletes with a club in their hands. Agreed. So many of the wonderful wonderful venue experiences in the NHL. Although not a fan, I love the Saddle Dome. Cool. Where's this? I'm not sure where that is. Where are you at, CA? If we have time. Thoughts on the? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure where I stand in this whole thing. This is a story that kind of snuck up on me, Drew. I think in the atmosphere that we're in this country today, there's going to be a very low tolerance for any of this type of thing. Is a lifetime ban warranted? Yes. But I'm not really sure. I mean, he's getting a lot of backing from some of the bigger players in the league, including his own Chris Paul and LeBron. So it's just I don't know, $10 million fine. Or is somebody saying lifetime ban? Am I reading this wrong? Oh, I'm sorry. I read this wrong. So they're not for him. I was just catching up on this as we go because I was trying to refresh myself on what actually was going on. But the Players Association wants him to be banned for life. He got a 1-year suspension and a $10 million fine following allegations of in an investigation into allegations of racism and misogyny during his 17 years as an owner. Again, and if these reports are true, then maybe a lifetime ban is not out of the realm of possibility here. So we got to go here, guys. I got to wrap it up or we're not going to be able to share the show. So I'll get to the rest of your comments here real quick. I'll put them up. But guys, I thank you. CA, thanks for coming in. Carlos, Kenny, Drew, Rick, Anthony, Alan, all of you. Thank you for pointing that out. Guys, have a great Sunday. Keep thinking with TGI Sports Talk. Have a great one.